My name is Michelle. I'm a Kenyan. I studied at Yale for my undergrad, where I did a BSc in molecular, cellular, and developmental biology, or molecular biology. After that, I did a master's in zoology, or evolutionary genetics at Cambridge. And I finished last year, and yeah, I'm kind of trying to figure out the next steps in life.
Thank you so much. You mentioned that you're interested in doing research, undergrad and grad research. How did you come across that interest?
So initially, I had thought that my interest lied in medicine or pharmacy or anything that would involve taking care of people medically. But with my interest in the lab and actually going into the lab and seeing how things worked, I realized that I was having quite a bit of fun doing lab work. And so I decided that research would be the way to go for me.
Have you done any undergraduate research projects that you want to tell us about?
Yes. Yeah, okay. So my first undergraduate research project was in a CRISPR lab. And I'm not sure if everyone knows what CRISPR is, but it's this gene editing technology that's kind of new and exciting and fun, and everyone's talking about it. And they were doing limb regeneration in salamanders, in Mexican salamanders. And so while I didn't really get involved in the details, it was kind of my first experience with seeing how a lab works and running protocols and, just learning the ropes of how things in a lab work. And so after that, I applied for a summer program via HHMI, which is a Howard Hughes Medical Institute, and they ran a program for minorities to get involved in research and hopefully proceed on to a PhD. So the program took me to UCLA, where I worked in a lab where they were dealing with cancer pathways, and they were studying this in fruit flies, yes, although I was looking at the maggots, which was an interesting experience, but I learned so much and I got to use some very nice fancy technology, which was exciting. And then the final thing I did as an undergrad was my senior research project, which was, I'm not quite sure exactly what it involved, but my segment of the work was looking at abnormal growths in mice, in mutant mice, who had a certain gene disabled, so that we could figure out what exactly that gene was doing. Yes.
So when you talk about your senior project, it takes me back to the seniors here at Wheaton, and I see how much stress they're under, and I'm sure your senior project was just as stressful, and I'm guessing your grad school work was equally as stressful. Do you want to talk about the heavy stuff right now?
Yes. So for my senior project, one of the most frustrating things was there's literally nothing to talk about, and I have to write like a whole mini thesis about this, and I don't know what to say. And I realized that honestly a lot of that kind of science works that way, where you're kind of trying to piece together things that may not be very clear at the beginning. And I realized that, well, this is not abnormal, this is just what it is. So you have to be very systematic and think about what you know and find the connection to what you have from your results. So I had to work a lot with one of the postdocs in the lab and my advisor supervisor, who are both very fantastic. And I think that's one of the things that made everything a lot easier. Just talking to them and being like, look, I don't know what's going on, but I'd appreciate your help. And reaching out is always, always important. And yeah, it was the same for my master's. Trying to figure out what's going on your own is never a smart move. You will get frustrated. And there are people with tons more experience who can point out where you're going in a matter of minutes and like reset your whole system and have you back on track.
Awesome. You talked about seeking for help. Is there an official role of someone in the lab, like a mentor, to guide you through your research? Did you have that?
Yes. So during my master's, I had 2 advisors who were given to me by the program itself, which was great. And they were there to, first of all, monitor your progress, but second, to also like sit down, have a chat over coffee, listen to any problems you might be having that you might not be able to tell your supervisor directly, and also like guide you on future career prospects, and just generally have casual chats about your science and your life and where you see them heading, which was amazing.
That's really interesting. So what were some of the most memorable moments outside of research, but still under the research experience?
I'm going to talk about my undergrad and my grad moments. In my undergrad, I think the chance to engage with people doing research in so many other like different kinds of fields when I did my summer program, and like talking to people who are also my age, who are also like as confused as you are. Some people wanted to go to med school, some people wanted to switch fields but still within science. So it was really, really very exciting to just hear from my peers about the things that excited them, and like all the hopes and visions that people had for their science or their work or their lives. And that was really important to know that like there's a community of people out there who are just like you, and like, I mean, think like you do. And yeah, that was really a good thing. For grad school, it was almost similar, but like seeing it on a bigger scale, because now people are presenting their work at big conferences, or they're like discovering really exciting things in their labs, and people are going on to do PhDs. And it's like, wow, people are actually following through with this and like creating things, creating knowledge. And I mean, you look at it from a distance when you're younger, but like as you grow older and it comes closer to you and you're like, I'm actually part of this right now. And that's always fun. That's always exciting.
That's awesome. So what advice do you have for undergrads who are interested in research right now? What would you tell them?
One of the things that I wish I knew when I was younger is that it's very important to explore and to not limit yourself to one field or one line of thinking, because I feel like the direction the world is moving in is that like there's going to be so much collaboration across fields, and not just in science, but like across, say, molecular biology and AI, or biology and finance, or AI and finance, or computer science. And like there's so much. I don't want to use the word cross-pollination because I find it really stupid. But anyway, that's the thing. Like ideas are spreading out across all these fields. And it would be really, really great for people to involve themselves in more than one field of research, and to think about how to move outside of what is traditionally known as you can or you should do research in this way. Most people would think that the pipeline is as simple as undergrad, grad school, postdoc, prof, whatever. But I feel like these days, especially with how slow or sometimes disappointing that process can be, that there are so many other ways people are practicing their science via startups or other forms of collaboration that allow you to put your idea into the world quicker than you would if you had to sit in a lab for 7 years and then, wait and wait and wait. And things are becoming a lot cheaper, things are becoming a lot more accessible. So you really don't have to restrict yourself to the places that you believe that you should be in. Yes.
Awesome, Michelle. Thank you so much for your time. I mean, that was a very insightful interview, and I'm glad we had that chat. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.